How's it going? I made a video 2 videos back about how to get clarity on your distorted guitars by using an unplugged signal. Like you could take your electric guitar not plugged in and record it into the mic. A couple people commented that you could just use the DI signal with your IR and that would give you clarity and you wouldn't have to play it again. Something I want you guys to keep in mind. Whenever there's a shortcut, you're always sacrificing something. And these little things that you sacrifice make everything a little bit worse, and that adds up because that little bit of difference is gonna be the same amount of difference. Let me give you an example of like a drum set, and you have a guy playing percussion next to the drum set. You ever listen to the Beastie Boys song Sabotage? Listen to that, what the percussion section's doing when they play like live on Letterman or any of these things. And just listen to it on the album, live, whatever. The percussion in almost every Beastie Boys song drives the song. It's not the same as just the drums. If you were to take the drums and process them in parallel, you'd have the exact same signal in parallel. So one would be affected, one would be dry. That's what you're doing with your DI guitar. You have the exact same performance because there's no discrepancy at all in where the hits are. The drums wouldn't sound the same if there was no percussion section, and the same thing by not playing the part again. You're losing that percussive element that's going to create this push-pull factor and thicken up the sound and make it sound huge. When you're in a dense mix, you need every little bit of push you can, because if you just crank the EQ up, that's something you're doing later. You're gonna boost the highs on something or mid-range to try to pull the guitars out. That's gonna make them poke out in a weird way that you wouldn't have to do because you're compensating for not having it to start with by just playing it again in this percussive fashion. So like there's a reason why you do things the right way instead of the easy way. The easy way is always going to be a little worse, and then you're going to have to compensate on EQ. You're going to have to compensate some other way, and it's going to make everything worse gradually every time you do something. You can get a little bit of push by blending a DI in with the distorted guitars, but it's not the same. I did a little example here so you could hear what I'm talking about. It's the DI with the distorted guitars is a good way if you can't play it again. If you're mixing a song for somebody or you don't have your rig or whatever, you can't play, okay. If you can't play it again, that's a better fix than not. Blend your DI signal, your total dry guitar signal in with your distorted guitars and you will hear them a little more. I've done this a lot on mixes, but if you can play it again, even if the pattern's not exactly the same, it doesn't matter. That human element will create like a percussion element. Listen, I'll show you what I'm talking about. I recorded a part up here. You got the gold stuff, these 2 tracks. This is my unplugged. That's the electric guitar not plugged in, mic'd up with a U47. I also have take 2, which is my second take of the IR signal, which has got guitar amp on it. This is just one of these plugins that like any IR plugin that will have a ton of sounds built in and you can make it sound however you want from a DI. So I've got my DI signal below it. This is the 2 green ones that are bright green, my DI and my IR symbol, okay? Then below that, I've got my first take. Now I basically doubled the part, kind of. I played it a little different each time because that'll also help with the width and everything and just make things sound a little bigger. It doesn't have to be an exact double. So we got the DI signal and we got the IR signal. So take 1, IR, DI, take 2, IR, DI, and unplugged. 2 takes of it. I did 2 separate takes of the unplugged because again, like I told you, that's going to add to the thickness. So just listen to how it sounds, the IR by itself, okay? No DI. This is no DI. This is just the IR. That's not bad, but listen to it with the DI now. That's with the DI. It adds a thickness. I'm gonna take it out so you hear the difference. Ready? And it's out. And it's back in. Hear that? And it's out. It just fades back and it's in. It comes to the front. So using the DI is a good idea. That clean DI signal blended in with your amp sim, your IR, is going to sound very good, okay? That's not what I'm not saying that's bad. You're going to use that if you can't play it again. But if you can play it again, now listen to the next level up that we can go by adding the unplugged to it. Ready? We're going to start with just the IR. Just the IR, okay? Let's add the DI. Brings it to the front. Now listen to adding the unplugged. Without the unplugged. Where'd it go? Now, with the unplugged. It brings it to the front even more. Do you hear what I'm saying? It doesn't even have to be totally deadlocked because it's creating a groove. So as long as it's not contrary to the groove that you've got going in a bad way, it can help the groove. It can drive the groove. And once you got a dense mix and you got a drummer playing ghost notes and you got a bass player doing stuff, this is going to blend in. All it's going to do is give that guitar more push on the downbeat and the upbeat. That's why people have been doing this for years. This is not a new concept. It's been going on forever, but there are no shortcuts. People think that because today it's recorded with an IR, you can get away with not doing this. I don't agree. I think it's just going to make it worse by a little bit. If you can play it again, even if it's not locked up. That human element is totally good. It's going to add a push, pull, and a groove where the thing feels like it's driving, and it makes you want to bop your head. Bop in your head is what we're going for. We're going for a feeling. We're going for the tone to elicit emotion, all right? I heard JJP say this, and I love this concept. He's like, when you talk to your dog, if you say, you know, I think his dog was like Sugar Baby or something. He's like, hey, Sugar Baby, come here, or whatever the name of the dog was, right? If you just say, hey, Sugar Baby, come here, it may come, it may not. But if you go, hey, Sugar Baby, you're the sweetest dog ever. Why don't you come over here? Why don't you come over? Like, the dog is going to respond. It's the tone of your voice. Adding this little bit to the tone of your guitars helps a lot. It's going to bring the listener's ear into it because it makes it so much more forward. You won't have to boost EQ. You won't have to do things that might make the guitar poke or stick out in a negative way. That's why you do stuff like this, okay? I mean, listen to it one more time. This is without it. This is with it. With it, okay, this is with everything. That's without it. It just fades back. This is with it. It's working, okay? So that's what I'm talking about. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, hit that like and subscribe button. Hopefully it's going to help you out. And just remember, there are no shortcuts. We need everything to be as good as possible all the time. If you start shaving little bits off of how good it can be, you're going to get to a point where your mix is that much worse at the end because these things compound on themselves. The problems compound. Because like I said, it's a little worse on the recording part. Then when you go to mix it, it gets a little worse because you had to boost stuff you wouldn't have had to boost. So no matter what, it's never going to be as good. All right? This will also help it stick, give it presence amongst other instruments. Percussion, when you add it to the drums, it makes the drums stand out and it makes them drive the song. Listen to the Beastie Boys Sabotage, you'll see what I'm talking about. And for this kind of guitar trick, listen to, literally, this is in so many records. A lot of the Zeppelin records have an acoustic guitar built into the sound, okay? Listen to Jane's Addiction, Been Caught Stealing. Listen to Spoon Man by Soundgarden. This is there. It's built in to make it sound better, to make the guitars sound more clear, more present. All right, you guys got this. There are no shortcuts. Evan Jaffe, Custom Cut Studios. Talk to you guys soon.